Colin, I have been reading a lot about these families that have lost their loved ones, all very young, beautiful people that have passed away at Narconon Arrowhead. And Stacy Murphy was the most recent young lady to die back on July 19th, scarcely a week ago. And her father, in one of the newspaper articles, said, and I quote, "Something's very wrong there."
Absolutely.
And you have reached out to these families, and I know that this is all very close to your heart. This is exactly your worst fear that's been realized that we talked about years ago. Tell me as much as you can about these families, and do they think that it was negligence? I mean, tell me what these families are going through with the loss of their loved ones and what's going to come of this.
Well, they're going through absolute heartbreak right now. Without any, we don't even have to say that. They're heartbroken. Hillary Holton, whenever she passed, that was a very, very sad case, and of course, I can't go into certain details that are going on right now due to the investigations that are happening and the legal cases. But what I can say, I visited at length on May 8th with Matthew Holton, Hillary's father, and that was my first experience with working with somebody that just lost their daughter, his baby, daddy's little girl, and I didn't know I didn't know what words I could tell him. So I did the only thing that I could think to do and lend an ear and be a shoulder to lean on.
That is all you can do.
Yeah.
And that's a lot.
And we cried together, and I couldn't make it down to Hillary's funeral, but my aunt Melanie, that lives there in Richardson, which is just a hop, skip, jumping away from Carrollton, she was able to go to the funeral and counsel with the family and whatnot. Whenever I did that piece, when Marissa Mendelston with Fox 25, they had me scheduled to come up on May 9th to do this interview. And the reason why I got so emotional in that interview was Marissa asked me a question, and it was something to the effect of, "How does this make you feel?" And the conversation with Hillary's father just flashed in my head, and that's all I saw, and that's all I could hear. And that's when the emotions came out on the Fox 25 piece with Marissa Mendelston. Now I'm going to go to Gabe. Gabe was an awesome dude. Awesome family. His mom Shirley is a true point of inspiration for anybody for what she has gone through. This isn't the only son that she's lost to drugs. Whenever after the funeral, I spent a lot of time with Shirley. Shirley was kind enough to put me up in her house. She had a room open, and we got to spend the night visiting with her and her husband. And whenever she took me back to the bedroom to put my stuff down and everything, and I went into the bedroom, and it wasn't until I was in the bedroom that she told me that I want you to stay in this bedroom. This is Gabe's room, and this is Gabe's bed, and that's all his stuff around here. Those are his guitars in the closet, and all I can say is I went to sleep that night to some guitar music playing, and it rocked me to sleep. And that's actually the last good night's sleep that I've had in the last 6-7 days.
It's amazing. I'm looking at a picture of him. He's got gorgeous crystal blue eyes, and he's 32 years old.
Yeah, 32, and smart as a whip, A++ personality, super high IQ.
Do these parents feel like there was wrongdoing on the part of Narconon? Did they suspect?
Yes, they do.
In the case of Stacy, did she go home and get a hold of some drugs?
That is what the father has said, and the point to that is she got a pass coming out of the sauna program. She just finished the sauna program, and why in the world would you get a pass coming out of the sauna program when you're put back out into the world, and you might have a craving, you might connect with some of your old friends or whatnot. A lot of things can happen, and if you use at that point, your liver is still trying to process the massive amounts.
That's a detoxification program after all.
That's right. Yeah, your liver it's in overload. It's still trying to process. So
5 hours a day sweating in the sauna.
That's right.
The vitamins and
so if you use at that point, I mean that's a setup for death.
So she did, for however she got it, she used, and they knew that when she came back.
I can't go into details on all that.
I can say from reading the news stories that I've read that apparently what happened is they discovered that she had used while she was out or while she was in. And the thing is she was left alone.
Yes.
For at least a couple hours, and they went back in there.
She was left unattended.
Yes, and that was one thing that was concerning to me. That doesn't seem like a very
I'm going to chime in on something on this. Narconon Arrowhead, all Narconons, the whole dadgum program is a straight up evil program. But I'm going to say something specific to Narconon Arrowhead. What they have done with the FSMs that they create, FSM stands for Field Service Member, and that's whenever you're a student that graduated the program, and now you're working for Narconon.
Right.
And they have created such a monster there that they put all of these fresh students into FSM positions.
A whole lot of them.
190
These
of them.
These are people that go through the program and then are rolled into staff members, basically, at Narconon. And there's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch, and they're put in control of certain situations. And they have created a monster that they can't control at all.
Let me give you an idea of the size of the facility. It's usually 150 students.
Yes, 150 to 200 students.
That's a lot. Yes. They call them students, but they're patients.
It's inside the program. You're a student.
And so what you're saying is possibly they have people that are not very well trained.
They're not trained at all. If whenever they get their certificates of I'm a drug counselor or whatnot, it's printed off upstairs on an inkjet printer. It's not through the state of Oklahoma.
Well, I'm going to go ahead. We've only got a few minutes till break. I'm going to go ahead and bring in David Love. Let me tell you a little bit about David Love. David's going to tell us some things that are going on around the world, as a matter of fact, with Narconon. It's not unique to Oklahoma. These same problems that we're seeing here are being seen everywhere. There is the Three Rivers Narconon that in Canada. This is another Narconon facility. After a lengthy investigation that's been shut down, we're gonna ask David about that. Let me tell you a little bit about David. He was born on the west coast of British Columbia, and right now he lives in the Montreal area. David formed a charitable organization in 1990 and was the director of a rehabilitation center for substance abuse. He completed a University of British Columbia real estate course and was employed as a realtor and a sub-mortgage broker for more than 6 years. David's life, he says, is fulfilled by doing research on public safety, culture, disease, and illness, and he strives to help persons with human rights and freedoms issues. I know he has been very active on this issue for some time now. David Love, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you for inviting me.
Welcome to the show. We only have a couple of minutes until we go to break, and I hope that you've been able to listen in while we're talking. Yes. Can you tell us what has happened in Canada with the Three Rivers Narconon facility?
Yes, I can. First, I would like to express my condolences to the families of the deceased patients that were at Narconon Arrowhead. It's very heartbreaking and emotionally disturbing to me as well, it's Colin. Narconon Three Rivers was investigated by the Health Agency, Ministry of Health and Social Services in Quebec. And after a lengthy investigation, they brought in expert physicians on detoxification and whatnot. They closed them down immediately and decided not to certify them. Also, the medical manager physician, who was a Scientologist in Montreal, that doctor was investigated for about 8 months. They went through all his files. They also brought in experts, and they decided that the Narconon program was dangerous to the patient, and he was banned from ever associating with Narconon again.
Okay, David, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And we're going to talk about some of the situation with certification and accreditation in Oklahoma, which is of great concern. You're listening to Axxiom for Liberty. We're talking to David Love from Montreal, and we'll be back to talk more about Narconon Arrowhead, Narconon International. Listen to Axxiom for Liberty. Stay with us.